Hello, hello. Hi, how are you? Juliana Sauber, a naturopath, and many other things, coming today to talk to you about talking to yourselves. This is the first day of a 5-day challenge that I encourage you to take each piece of this, take it and do it at your leisure, whatever you're comfortable with. I encourage you to do it consecutive days, because it feels more powerful that way. But if you're not quite comfortable with that, that's okay too. So let's start with getting to know me just a minute, just a little bit. So Juliana Sauber, I live in Michigan. I have a husband and 2 adult boys. It's hard to believe. And we have had our share of health challenges as a family. Mine were varied and mostly very physical. So lots of muscle and ligament pain and tenderness, stiffness, hormone imbalance, mood swings. I had fatigue that was never ending, and lots of pain, head pain, body pain, etc. My one son dealt with sneezing, allergies that wouldn't seem to end. And my younger son had a variety of challenges with physical challenge, but more in the mood and energetic challenges. I never pursued a diagnosis. I didn't feel like the diagnosis was beneficial. I didn't feel like it did a whole lot for us, because it never answered the why question. It never answered the why. And then what do I do about it? And I've been a fixer for, I like to fix things. I like to solve challenges and not allow them to perpetuate. And in doing so, I've learned a lot of really amazing things and really powerful ways to help yourself be well, happy, vital, energetic. And this is a big piece of what I learned along the way. So I want to share these with you. And these will be very quick videos. Most of them will be 30 minutes or less. It's not going to take you a lot of time to learn the tool and then invest the time in yourself to practice it, to do it, to put it into implementation, and get through the 5 days, do the tests and the activities, rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. That's really important, because each of this is layered. We are like onions, if you will. You're going to peel off a layer and then you'll find there's another layer. You peel off another layer. Each layer you peel off will result in a really amazing benefit. We cannot predict what that benefit will be. We know that you will receive benefit from what you do, because each and every experience that you've had in your life is yours alone. So I can't say that by speaking and doing what I'm recommending in these 5 days, telling your right knee that, it needs to be working for you, and we'll go through those pieces of it. We can't predict how that will work out, because you might find, yes, your right knee feels better, and so does your right ankle, and oddly your left hip, and then your left shoulder, because the body is interconnected. One thing cascades to another. And that's why it's important to speak to your whole cellular structure. The cellular structure is an energetic structure. It is energetic, so it responds to words and thoughts. It responds to what you hear and what you listen to, what you watch on television, the news, movies, music, all of those things. There's this response happening within your body. Your cells hear what you say, they hear what you think, and they respond. They hear also the subconscious programming, the record that is playing in the background. See, 90% of what's going on is subconscious, 10% is conscious. And in our current paradigm, there's anything you can do about that, but that's not true. There is a significant amount you can do about that. If you think about a song that has been playing in your head over and over and over again, right? You're not necessarily consciously repeating that song. Your subconscious is repeating that song, but you're accessing it. You're tapping into it. The programming that you wake up in the morning, you get up, you go to the bathroom, you go to your coffee maker, you make your coffee, you add your sugar, your creamer to it, you sip your coffee, you work, you check your voicemail, you check your Facebook, you eat, a donut, you drive the same way to work, you grab a donut at the same gas station with the same person, and you know the dollar amount that it's going to cost you to get it, and you drive the same way to work, and you walk in the same, carrying the same bag and wearing the same coat and doing the same thing the first time you sit down at your desk. That is all subconscious programming that you're responsible for. You did that. You made all of those decisions along the way, even not knowing it, because you weren't at the time conscious of how you were doing that. Now we're becoming conscious of that. Now we can say, I think instead of doing this, I'm going to do this. And it takes time and practice to relearn the neural synapses, to rewire them, and to relearn the muscle memory that comes along with that as well. And to rewrite the cellular structures, the genetics, the DNA. Yes, I said genetics and DNA. Yes, we can rewrite the genetics and the DNA. I posted a video in the group. Don't forget to join the group. I posted a video in the group that shows, and it's from Dr. Bruce Lipton. It talks about the idea that genetics are a response to the environment that you're in. And the environment you're in is oftentimes fully within your control. Not always, but many, many times fully within your control. So you get to choose. You get to choose whether you listen to a violent movie or you catch a movie about nature, or you paint instead of watching a violent movie. You get to choose the words that come out of your mouth once you're conscious of them, once you are making that conscious effort. So we're going to go through those pieces of it. The subconscious is like a record of the past. It has no concept of time. So your subconscious doesn't know if you're 5 or 35, if you're 10 or 70. Your subconscious does not know that. There is a record playing in the background all the time. So those of you who are familiar with records, you know what I mean by a skipping record. And it drives behavior. It drives decisions subconsciously until we become aware of it and we take back control of it. That record of the past is based on your experiences and the emotions that you attach to those experiences, the beliefs that you decided about the world and the world you live in based on those experiences. So if you were close to, say, a grandparent when you were young and you lost them when you were young, you had this strong well of emotion. You now lost that individual. You now don't have their presence with you, teaching you, supporting you, hugging you, giving the things that they were giving you in that time period. You no longer have that individual. So you can experience a cascade of emotions. There can be a large event, emotional, and then a cascade of follow-on emotions. And unless you process through those emotions, they tend to dive down into the subconscious. And they can manifest as unusual behaviors. They can manifest as challenges when you're 20 years later in your life. And you're not necessarily at the time conscious that there's a linkage to that. Maybe you don't want to get into a relationship because you're afraid you're going to lose that individual. You don't know why consciously, that it's because you experienced a loss when you were a child. You just know that you're not getting into relationships. None of them work out. These people always let you down. They disappoint you. They always leave you. You can hear it in your language once you pay attention to it. It's the same with food-based behaviors. If you've had an experience when you were a child, say you were upset, right? You fell off your bike, scraped your knee, you went in and your mom gave you a cookie and that comforted you. You believe that that was what comforted you, not your mom's presence or the hug or the fact that you calmed yourself down, but the cookie. So then the next time you have an upset, your mom gives you a muffin or a cupcake. And the next time you have an upset, grandma happens to have fast forward to you're 35 years old, you have something happen at work, you're upset about it. And what's the first thing you do? You go to cookies and cupcakes. Those are subconscious programs, and those impact your health. So we're going to link this into health, but it really has an impact on every part of your body, every part of your life, every behavior, all decisions. It's amazing how it has an impact on all of those things. So the end of an experience is always an emotion, and we need to take time to process through that, but we very seldom don't do that. One, society doesn't give us time to do that. It used to be culturally that mourning was a part of this process, 30 days of mourning. In the Jewish faith and culture, they allow over 40 days of mourning, and it's expected. That's normal, that is traditional. But in modern society, we get 3 days of bereavement, right? You got to be back to work. Can't deal with all this stuff. You got the days off for the funeral, you're back to work dealing with life. There's no time to process that emotion. We have to take time to process these emotions. We have to take time to sit with our grief. And it may not be comfortable. And if there's something you're grieving and you're struggling with and you're not sure how to walk through it, that's why I'm here, is to help you walk through it, to help you hold a safe space to be able to do that. But I'm going to teach you some tools in this 5 days that will help you to work through some of those things more easily. Emotions and their physical impact has been studied and proven going back into the 70s. A woman by the name of Dr. Candace Pert did a beautiful job studying emotions. She was studying actually opioid receptors. She's the one who figured out that there was an opioid receptor within the body. And the body can actually produce the biochemical of what we call an opioid to reduce pain. So we don't actually need an external. In fact, it was Dr. Deepak Chopra, who was originally trained as a medical doctor and moved into a more holistic approach of body, mind, spirit medicine. He said in many, many, many interviews that I heard is that your body can produce the biochemistry of any pharmaceutical that they might produce. That's how they figure it out. That's how they figure out the basics of what needs to happen, but they're not successful at producing the synthetic version and not having it cause you more challenges, side effects, as it were. Okay. So emotions have polypeptide chains. These they link with amino acids. So they're a linkage of amino acids, and those linkage of amino acids become proteins. Those proteins are building block structures for cells, for tissues, for glands, for muscles, for organs, and for the DNA structure, the double helix. Okay. So it's important to understand that there is a strong connection between emotions and your body's physical response. That has been proven scientifically. So you can research that. Dr. Candace Pert wrote a great book called Molecules of Emotion, and she's done several talks that I think you can find on various video channels. So the polypeptide chain that is produced as a result of an emotion, and that emotion can be related to what you say to yourself, what you think about yourself, what is said to you, what you experience in life, and how you then process through all of those experiences. So I want you to just at least do a little bit of research into Dr. Candace Pert and the polypeptide chains. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to be able to teach it to anybody, but but to validate this for yourself, check it out. Another individual I'm going to encourage you to listen to is Dr. Bruce Lipton. Now, in the group, I posted a video of Dr. Bruce Lipton talking about placebo, nocebo. This is what we're talking about here. This has nothing to do with taking a sugar pill. This has everything to do with how you speak to yourself, what you think about yourself, and how you respond to the world, especially as it relates to yourself. And then the last one that I want to talk about is Dr. Masaru Emoto. Now, the human body is 80% water. It's mostly water. Water holds memory. I had to laugh when we watched the movie Frozen 2. Sven, the little snowman guy, not Sven, my bad. The little snowman guy, I can't think of his name. He says it multiple times throughout the movie, water has memory. It has memory. As you repeat something to yourself, or as somebody repeats something to you, or you listen to it in the news over and over and over again, it actually changes the molecular structure of the water in your body. Fear changes the molecular structure of the water in your body. But guess what? You can change it back. So I want you to Google Dr. Masaru Emoto water and take a look at what he saw, how the changes in the crystalline structure of the water based on the words that were spoken and even written down. So part of their research was they would write a word or a phrase on a piece of paper, they would tape it to a glass of water and leave it overnight, and then they would look at the change in the crystalline structure. It's amazing. Absolutely incredible. The difference between a prayer and you make me sick, and the change in the physical response of that. So there's an emotional response and a physical response. We have to understand the connection between the two for this concept of talking to your cells and talking your cells into health to make a whole lot of sense for you. Okay. So those are the basics. I don't want to dive into a whole lot of chemistry. You can do as much research as you're comfortable with. If you're ready to dive in, here is your homework for today. I told you today was going to be a short one. They're all going to be short. This doesn't need to be an in-depth lesson. This is not a college course. This is meant to be, let me give you the basics and then give you your action items so you can take action quickly and see those results start to manifest. So today, day one, we're going to turn on your RAS, your reticular activating system. This reticular activating system has to do with memory. And the best example that I've come up with is when you buy a car of a particular color, you then see every car of the same color when you're on the road, and you may not have noticed it. I bought a white car last time, and I can't believe how many white cars there are on the road or in parking lots. I now see all the white cars. The reticular activating system effectively is a filtering system. So when you've been made aware of something, you then filter information in to link with that. And that linkage is important. And it does a couple of things, right? So it links your left side and your right side of your brain. You have your creative brain and you have your intellectual brain. And we often just go after the intellectual brain, right? We're going to read it and remember it. But when you activate the creative brain at the same time or even beforehand, your intellectual brain is more engaged and you will have better memory of things. So read it, look at it, see the visuals. So when I give you these things to do, I want you to look at it and I want you to read about it. And you may even find a video about it. Do all three. Activate that reticular activating system. Here's the reason why that's important is because in the future, in the next few days, that reticular activating system awareness is going to help you to accomplish the task that you're going to need to accomplish. Okay. All right. So I want you to first look up cells, and I want you to look up cells energetically and physically. Okay. So cells under an electron microscope, look up electrons in cells, look up things like light emission and sound emission from cells. have a little fun diving into cells and rewrite your understanding of cells. See, we were taught in what, third grade, we built the Jello cell, right? And it's just a physical structure. Far from it. It is an energetic structure all day long. And each cell has different instructions. Each cell has a different job. So what job is your cell doing, and how's it doing at that job? And how can you interact with your cell so that it can do its work more efficiently? Look up Emoto's work. I mentioned Emoto water. I think that's an important part of your DuckDuckGo search. Look up DNA double helix. I just want you to look at the double helix. I want you to see what that structure looks like. And you may even look up RNA, DNA, or the double helix in two separate sections, because really it is two separate linkages together, two chains. And one is your RNA, that is your writing DNA, or writing ribonucleic acid. And then you have your DNA, which is the hard programming. Not that it can't be changed. It's like the software in your computer. It's like Excel or Word in your computer, or a video application. The video application exists. It's there. It's written. It is changeable, but it doesn't do anything until you press the go button. And that's the RNA. Okay. Look up what is RNA so you can have a good understanding of it. Look up what is epigenetics. And I just want you to get a basic understanding of epigenetics and why this is an important concept to understand, at least the basics of it, so you can understand how this works to rewrite your DNA. Look up Dr. Bruce Lipton, which I put the link in the group. And then I also put another link in there about Dr. Emoto. So today's homework is really a little bit of research for you. It's to help you to get the baseline of where I'm coming from so that the concepts that I'm going to share with you and the action items make more sense. Okay. So that's day one. How easy was that? We did it in about 22 minutes. Pretty good. All right. And this class is free for everyone. Please share it. Share it with your friends. Share it with individuals in your circle that you think might like it, and bring them into the group. Don't forget, find the 5-day Cells Challenge group and request it on Facebook. I'm going to put these videos on Rumble. I'm not doing the YT one. I'm going to put them on Rumble, but they will not be up for probably another week, but I am going to put them in the Facebook group. All right. All right. And make sure you're commenting, like, give me some feedback. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you learned. I'm always excited to hear what people learn. All right. We'll see you in day 2.